Then we all attended St Mary's School up here. I think all of us came to this school. This was over here. It was a convent then, but with the nuns. There was about half a dozen nuns in the convents, you know. And there was a few of them teachers. And we got on quite well with them.
The new school was built in 1927. And I went to start the school in 1922. So I must have had 5 years in the convent and the old school.
Yeah, well, I went to the Inglewood High Elementary School. That's halfway between a primary school and a high school. Went up to one below leaving certificate, and they could do correspondence leaving certificate.
We had no facilities much those days, you know, in those schools. There was no heating and there was no cooling. And there was only a tank out the back for a drink of water on a hot day, no refrigeration business, no nothing. There was an old pannikin on the tank stand, you know, just a water tank outside, fed off the roof. And the kids would all be rushing to the old pannikin sitting on the ledge of the tank stand to have a drink. It'd be quite warm, the water, you know, on a hot day, but it's either that or nothing, so please yourself.
That's good. The nuns were fairly strict. They used the cane as well as the strap. And I remember getting the cane on a frosty morning. Some of us giggled anyway or something and laughed at the wrong time, and so we got the cane. By his ear stung for hours.
You'd have a mark there for a few days. By God, it used to hurt. You know, it was a duster with a cane stick. And hit anybody with this stick about as thick as your finger with a fluff on the end of it, you know, and she'd give you a good whack across the legs. By the crikey, it used to hurt.
I didn't have that one.
You'd go to school and your teacher would say, go outside, and the headmaster would give them 2 or 3 hits with a strap, like ordinary kids would go out. Or you'd get kept in and have to do 100 lines, because I know I had to do 100 lines once. Another girl and I went outside and were making the class laugh. We were acting the goat out the windows. So we got 100 lines for that.
We had some very tough teachers in the 5th grade. She loved homework, so we all got at least an hour's homework to take home, and big trouble next morning if you didn't have it. You got 2 hours the next night.
I always can remember Jack Martindale throwing the chalk when he got wild with the kids. He was a good teacher, everybody liked him, but if the kids played up with him, he'd up and throw a piece of chalk at them.
We'd play, you know, all sorts of games outside, and the boys, we used to play a little bit of football and sometimes cricket, and we played a lot of alleys and stuff like that, you know, marbles we used to call them. And that was a fairly popular game in our days when we were kids.
They'd just play hopscotch and all those sort of things, and skippy. Heidi, you'd play those sort of games, but they still had their basketball and, you know, things like that.
I used to come out of school and take my shoes off, and my other brother, he did too, and you'd be glad to get your shoes off and bare feet and run home, bare feet. And we couldn't stand shoes on, because all the time we knocked around we had bare feet anyway.
Thursday was a busy day in Inglewood. It was always the farmers' shopping day, Thursday. Always, yes. It was quite a busy town. And well, you can see with the hotels that they were all open when I was young, and all the stores. There was a Judd's store, 2 and 6, everything, nothing over 2 and 6. And
well, there were 4 grocery stores in the main street, all in Brook Street, Inglewood. And there were 2 Nixon's stores, they were brothers, the Nixon brothers, and there was a Jennings store and there was a Wilson store.
Oh, look, there was a couple of old shops in the town those days. There was an old place, Mrs. Palmer, and she had a sort of what would you call it, a delicatessen place, I suppose. She sold